Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And it's the High Priestess. Somehow I knew it was going to be the High Priestess. I don't know why. I just had that image in my head. I think right now you're going through a lot of kind of an inner enlightenment. You know, I feel like you're someone who's very receptive to the spiritual light. I feel like in your life there's been maybe a rather sudden, but there's been a recent transition from things in the external world, from our kind of our outward life, our ambitions, our work, our kind of, the external focus. There's been a shift toward the kind of interior work, okay? And I feel like this is really something that is illuminating a lot of truth for you, okay? And I think that you're receiving a lot of spiritual guidance. I think your intuition is becoming very, very strong right now. I think that you're really being shown the way, okay? And the High Priestess to me is a card about the full moon, right? And to me, it's kind of like one half of that star card, that we talk about a lot. This is the interior illumination. We're starting to find out more about who we are, And I think that you're resolving we're untangling some knots in ourselves, I guess. We're dealing with a lot of things from the past. I think that you are processing a lot of things. A lot of things have been happening recently for you, and I think that this is really the focus that you need to see where everything fits in, in your kind of spiritual reality. Okay, so I think you're very much in tune with your higher self right now. I feel like the universe is bringing you guidance. I feel like we're going to start seeing the way forward. Okay, well, we need to put this card into some context. I feel like this is really I feel like you're very open to the spiritual energies right now. Okay, it's like your aura is open, very permeable. So I feel like you're absorbing a lot. You're trying to increase this light within you in order to then shift that light toward the outside to guide the way, to kind of light the path in front of us. So let's see where this card is taking us. High Priestess, very good place to start. And there we've got the Hermit. Yes, perfect. I feel the Hermit is you doing exactly what I just said. Shifting from the external focus to the internal focus. We're now getting back to this kind of microcosmic alignment, okay? I think that you are, again, that inner light, right? That's what the Hermit is kind of there for, to show that we are, maybe even this might be something very important, because the Hermit sometimes shields itself from what's coming from outside, in order to discover that light within. So when I say with the High Priestess that your aura feels very open, it feels very permeable right now, maybe that's something that the Hermit is kind of contrasting with, okay? Because the Hermit really is an aura that's not open to things coming in from the outside. The Hermit is kind of cloaking itself from the outside world. The Hermit has that protective circle around them, so that the external stuff coming in, drama and worries and all these concerns from our outer life are not moving us at the moment. That we're searching for that inner light, something that's coming from within to build up. Okay, so I think that this maybe is a shifting of focus from what is external to what is internal, and trying to fortify ourselves internally in our kind of our psychic environment in order to prepare ourselves for what's coming next and where we're going to be traveling, okay, in our lives. So I feel that this is a way for us to strengthen our own resolve, find the inner strength, okay, to get in touch again with that spiritual side of ourselves, yeah, in order to kind of re-engage with the world. Because the Hermit, I mean, it's very, very difficult to deny the message of the Hermit, right? It's a disengaging from the cares and worries and concerns of the outside world to focus on the inner light, to discover the inner light, to follow the inner light, to commune with that spiritual energy, okay? And then this, obviously, the Hermit must at some point take off the cloak and let that light shine forth so that we can see what the next step in our life is, right? So I feel like you're in this kind of hermit mode right now. Well, let's do a couple more cards around this and see. Well, see, there's that protective circle, okay, and this is the universe card. This is the sphere of the zodiac in a way. So I feel like a large part of your work right now is maybe studying your astrology, studying your metaphysical makeup, which is really part of that question, who are we, right? And you're not, with the Hermit energy, we're not allowing other ideas or people or opinions to come in and tell us who we are. So it's kind of like you're not going to the astrologer to ask. You're studying the astrology yourself to figure it out, right? So I feel like you've been on that path a little bit lately. Maybe it's not astrology, it might be something else, but we're really trying to figure out what these things mean and where we fit into it all and what it might reveal about us. Any good book on astrology will, I think, seriously blow your mind. It's a very complex subject. I don't really know that much about it, to be honest with you. But what I do know and what I have read in the studies that I have done are mind-boggling. They're so astounding. Just with all of the different placements and the different aspects and the relationships between the planets and the signs and the angles of everything, reading all of those details in a way that is honest and authentic and allowing that inner light to grow, I think reveals a lot about who we are. Okay? And I think it will shed a lot of light on some of these things that we're trying to overcome at the moment. Okay? The universe card, or the world card, down here at the bottom, is also telling me that part of your purpose in life, I guess, or part of who you are, is you're someone who kind of wants to find their place. You want to feel like you belong somewhere. I mean, we all do, right? So sometimes the universe card is the cold, lonely vastness of space, right? The world is just wide open and empty, and we're alone, right? And in a way, this is very true, because this internal, inner spiritual initiatory journey that you're on, this quest that you're on inside, is a lonely journey. It is. You're doing it solo. We all are, right? But at the same time, I feel like you want a sense of familiarity. And I don't know, lately, have you been feeling as if, kind of as if you don't recognize things so much anymore? You know, if you move to a new town, and that new town just feels weird, it feels new, you don't know your way around, you don't know where your store is, and when you drive down the street, none of it looks familiar. Until weeks, months, maybe even years later, suddenly it feels like home, and suddenly it feels just like you belong there, like you're part of that town, right? I feel that way whenever I think of my hometown out in Northern California, and I haven't been there in maybe 6 years, but I know that when I do go back, it's going to feel like home. It never goes away, right? And so I feel like you're kind of looking for that feeling somewhere, that you want to feel that the world isn't so big and empty, right? And this card is also about you expanding that circle of awareness, right? We said that you had that protective circle around you, which is, we're trying to do our inner work, and we don't need an influence from outside. We don't want any negative influences coming in. It's kind of like we don't want to be disturbed while we do this important work, while we figure things out, But I feel as if you're trying to expand that protective circle so that more and more of the world feels familiar, feels like it's yours, feels like you belong there, and that we have this harmonious relationship with the world around us. Okay. The universe card is also a card about time. And it seems as if there's a distorted view of time right now. I almost wonder if you felt that you've been in this space for a long time, but I feel like it hasn't really been that long. I feel like you just began this process. And maybe this is really a simple thing of, we expect ourselves to make more progress than we do. It's like we sit down to study something or learn something or figure something out, whether it's a new skill or, a new subject that we're trying to learn. And sometimes we admonish ourselves because I just didn't learn it as fast as I thought I would, right? Or it's taken me several tries to get the hang of this new skill. But really, I think you're making a lot of progress very quickly, but sometimes in our humbleness, in our humility, we feel like we haven't been making enough progress. Okay? So the universe card to me is saying you're exactly where you need to be. The timing is right. The time and space is perfect for you right now. This is what you need to do. We're going to look at a card in the background. Yeah. 7 of Cups. There was a situation that you are emerging from. And this could be, we've had some challenging readings for you lately, Scorpio. I will be the first to admit that. This is that feeling of being stuck. This is the 7 of Cups, and really the 7, it's an odd number, right? It means it's an action card. It means it's movement, it's doing something. It's not being something, right? It's doing something. So I feel like what we're doing here, we could be grieving. We could be struggling against something that's pulling us down, struggling against this sinking feeling, right? And it's kind of like quicksand. The more you struggle, the kind of more stuck you get, because the air and the suction and stuff, and it just kind of starts grabbing you more. So I feel like there's a situation in which you kind of felt stuck, and in your struggle to get out of being stuck, you got more stuck, okay? And it could be related to a loss, or a heartbreak, or something like that, right? The 7 of Cups, it's hard to find the light in this card. Every card has light and shadow, right? It's kind of hard to find the light in the 7 of Cups, but there is. Because the 7s are the number of triumph, of overcoming, knowing that we're going to lick this thing, knowing that we're going to overcome this and that we're going to get out of this. So it's kind of like even in our deepest despair, there's that hope in you. There is that confidence, really, that this is going to be overcome. Okay. And I feel like that's kind of the state that you're in now. That we're going to do a card at the top. Yeah. See, there is the Magician. The Magician is. It's Mercury. It's the trickster. It's the juggler. It's the performer. It's literally the stage magician. It's our ability to create the reality that we want. It's kind of like if we get stuck in this quicksand, well, then we'll just transform into something that's less dense, and we'll just float right out. It's kind of the idea of we're finding those really ingenious solutions to the problems, that we're thinking outside the box. Right? But we're also taking responsibility to create the world that we want. Okay? And this is part of the confidence too, because I think that even though you have been in that 7 of Cups situation, which I feel like you're pulling yourself out of that, and I feel that's where we're in this kind of high priestess hermit phase right now. you know that you're going to come out of this unscathed, unscarred, right? That it's a challenge, yes, but it is something that you can and will overcome. And I think more than just we're just kind of scraping by, by the skin of our teeth. I think you're really going to be taking this experience and turning it into a powerful element in your metaphysical makeup, right? Because we can't ignore what has been going on. We can't ignore what's been happening, maybe, I don't know, the last couple months, maybe. We can't ignore that. So rather, we take that into ourselves and we learn to use it as a strength rather than allowing it to be a weakness and, something that we're now fearful of, that swamp or that quicksand. Now, I'm an expert at quicksand. Doesn't mean I'm going to go searching for more. But if I ever happen upon that situation again, or if anybody I know, if I happen across another traveler who's stuck in the quicksand, I'll know what to do, right? So having been through that, you then have that experience and you can help yourself and others should that situation or something similar happen again, right? That's part of the magician energy. We're learning, we're gaining wisdom from our experiences. And I think you're somebody that's very, very keen on that. I feel like this is also a card of communication. And see, now we've got a lot of major arcana here, right? This is all major arcana. It's communication, it's relationships, it's association. So I feel that it's sort of like this magician is the one, and then here in the universe we have the many. I feel like you're finding your unique voice, your skill, and your talent. It's kind of as if in the Hermit High Priestess phase of this internal work, you are rising above, like the philosophic Mercury, right? You are rising up, you're volatilizing your creative energy, and you're emerging as your own spirit, right? As the spirit of Scorpio. And so this, to me, really has intense alchemical implications. And I think what you're doing here is an inner alchemy. And this is this is the spirit rising up from this, okay? And even these two cards here, this is kind of this experience. We are able to allow this experience to kind of ferment, and we are able to then distill off the wisdom from that situation. And I think that this is really you emerging as a better version of yourself, a more complete, a more powerful, a more wholesome, I guess, version of yourself. And so that the Magician card is really, really good here at the top. And I think this is your intentional work. I think you know this process is going on. You probably have a familiarity with alchemy. Maybe you can recommend some good books to me. I've been trying to find a good book on alchemy, and I go through the kind of basic, ones that I have, but I'm looking for something else. I don't know. Anyway, one more card on the path of the dove here. 10 of Cups. That is the dream life. That is the dream come true. This is, this is going to make me cry, because this is just kind of, we get stuck here and sometimes we start to feel like this is never going to change. This is never going to be different. I'm never getting out of here, etc., etc. Thankfully, we don't have that energy here. We don't have those swords cards. Right? We don't have a 3, a 5, a 7, a 9 of swords, all the swords really. We don't have that energy that says we're here and we're talking ourselves here. We're keeping ourselves here through our internal dialogue. But so far, no swords cards here. But we do have the spirit of Mercury, the Magician card. And this is all about communication. This is all about understanding the thought process. Yeah. I wonder if you even are if you do something with like neuroscience or, I don't know, some kind of cognitive, behavioral, something. You know something about the mind that kind of like most people don't really know, okay? You're kind of that sort of scientist, right? What this card reminds me of too, a little bit anyway, is in the Greek myth of King Minos, this would be Daedalus, right? The one who builds the labyrinth, the one who, creates the scenario wherein all this stuff can, all this kind of tragedy can happen, but then also is very forthcoming with a solution of how to overcome that. And so this is kind of an idea that it is your true self, your higher self, that has put you in that Seven of Cups situation, but also has given you the key or the spool of thread to get yourself out of the situation. Okay, and then we wonder why, and I feel like it's a fortification. I feel like it's an alchemical process for you. And then, of course, in the future position, let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about the Ten of Cups. Perfect happiness. Every area of your life is satisfied, is overflowing with joy and love and beauty. And both of the universe or world card and the Ten of Cups kind of represent the final stages or the completion of something. So when we take these two cards together, I feel like your assemblage of your perfect life is almost complete. Okay? And so with the Seven of Cups, I wonder if this was maybe an unexpected or a very narrow kind of thing. It didn't blow up your entire life, but it was a very serious thing, but it was very focused. It was focal, not diffuse, right? It was kind of locally here. And now I feel like having overcome that, work your way through that, and process that as you're doing, we're able to then kind of repair a couple of these cups, and now we're getting back to this dream life, right? And I think this is absolutely fantastic. I want to select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown, and it's going to go right here, Alien, Simon, Mork, Ripley, right there on top. Now, we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, and it will give us our confirmation. If you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments down below. See, we save that card until the end, and then we reveal it, and we see how close we got in our predictions. But that is the thing that's going to tie everything together, okay? Now we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's totally free, and it really does help out the channel. I appreciate that. Back to business. General energy, path of the serpent, the Eight of Swords. Okay, now we got the swords. I knew it. I kind of jinxed us, I think. The Eight of Swords is that kind of prison, that kind of the bars, the tangle of wires that we create around ourselves. And in some ways, it is kind of us disbelieving that it's possible to overcome these things, and it's part of what you are working on in this hermit position. But the Eight of Swords might be a tendency for us to kind of stay in hermit mode a little bit longer than we need to. That we think if a little bit of this interior work is good, then a lot of it is going to be better. And then, of course, we start to isolate ourselves, because there's a shadow side to the hermit too, right? Which is that isolation from the world. That, yes, we are here in this vast, cold, infinite universe, and I'm keeping to myself. I'm just a lonely star out in space, and that's the way it's going to stay. So we do have a tendency to talk that into existence a little bit, right? This is, we think if we're so wrapped up in what's going on within us, then we don't have much effort, time, or energy, or patience to deal with anything outside of us. Okay. I've known people that have been in that mode to a very extreme degree, let's say. Okay, to the point where they would not have a conversation with you because there was so much other stuff going on. We'll leave it at that. And so we have to be careful with that hermit energy, because we could talk ourselves into staying in hermit energy. It's nice here. I like being alone. I like kind of existing in my own space, and which is wonderful, which is fine. I'm a Cancer person. So we're fairly simpatico, you and I. I love being in my own space. I love being alone. I love doing kind of my thing and my vibe and my energy. But at the same time, part of the Ten of Cups that we ultimately want and what we're moving toward is a more wholesome, more complete picture of happiness. So yes, being hermit mode is wonderful, right? But so is, bringing your light into the world and Well, with the Mercury energy too, with the magician communicating. It's almost like you have this magician who is just like super talented, right? The best magician that has ever existed, whether it's a metaphysical magician, spiritual magician, or a stage magician, I don't care. The best person ever, the best one, right? But never shows it to anybody, never does anything with it. Is just doing it for themselves at home alone, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. I don't think it's what you want though. Because of the Ten of Cups, it's showing that this is something that's kind of, in order for it to be complete, everything has to be in balance. Everything has to be expressed in its own way. Everything is fulfilled according to its own nature. So I feel like you have this, almost like this performer in you that really wants to perform, wants to be out in the world, wants to have the audience. What we're really trying to do is take this cold, vast, universe card and turn it into an Empress card, turn it into a Princess of Pentacles, right? We're trying to manifest this. We're trying to bring life into this. This right now, maybe we could look at this as being a cold, vast, empty, lifeless place. We want to bring the spirit. We want to manifest the consciousness in this. We want this to then be overflowing with life, right? And that's part of the Ten of Cups for you. So we have to make sure we don't overthink things and overanalyze things with the Eight of Swords, because this is, we're wrapping ourselves, we're going in circles with our mind so much that we get tied up and we're not making any moves. We're not doing anything with it, right? But let's see what the card of the environment is today. The Ace. Yeah, that's pretty nice. The Ace of Wands is the creative will that is also represented by this magician. So this is really telling me that you're bringing, and see these three cards in the Dove and Serpent spread are closely connected. They create one of the many triads of the spread. And this, I think, is you as this magician, as this skillful, talented, charismatic, intelligent person, taking the initiative, taking all of that talent, taking your spirit, your flame, your lamp that you discover in hermit mode, taking this outside into the world to bring light to the world. You're bringing your specific brand of illumination and consciousness and life to this cold, empty, lifeless universe. You're bringing the life to it, right? You are the creative spark here that's going to grow this universe. I really would expect oh, there it is, the Empress card. I was just going to say that. That's what you're doing, is you being out in the world is bringing this element of life to things, right? And so really, I feel like this Hermit High Priestess process for you is really, you're really coming alive, you know? And we're processing, we're getting ourselves out of whatever this quicksand was. We can look at some of the past readings and we can get an idea of maybe kind of what's been going on, but it's in the past now, right? It's here in the background. But this is something that it's still sort of influencing things and still kind of, it's still there. And I think that's why we've got the Eight of Swords. The Empress, but the Empress is in a weird position. This is the position of the difficulty. And these two spaces on the path of the Serpent are connected, right? This is part of what's going on internally. So there's an opposition there. We know that we want to go and bring life to the world, that we want to bring our unique spirit and talent and skill and our consciousness in order to make the cold, vast emptiness of space going from lifeless to now teeming with life, bubbling over with life and love and joy and beauty, right? But it's in the position of the obstacle or the difficulty because there is that one mental part of you, the intellectual part, the kind of left brain logical part that is still sort of attached to the Seven of Cups, right? And I'll show you why that might be with the end card here, the Hanged Man. Yeah. So another very important triad in the Dove and Serpent spread is this one, and this one. So it is this Hanged Man energy that is kind of keeping you wrapped up in this Seven of Cups, wrapped up in this tangle of thoughts. the heart and the mind aren't usually very separated, right? And in this case, we can see that, no, they're kind of on the same page. The more we feel this thing, the more we think about it. The more we think about this past, whatever this was, the more we sink into that quicksand, okay? And the Hanged Man is that part of us that almost feels that this is our fate. It's kind of the card that says, this is my destiny, this is what I deserve, and this is where I'm kind of surrendering to it. I'm allowing myself to fall back and we're kind of giving up in the quicksand, right? But there's a secret to that, because in quicksand, it's not about the struggle to get out. It's almost like the calm acceptance of the situation, and then the very graceful and gentle movement to get out. Now, I've never been in quicksand, but this is what I've seen on TV. The struggle is going to be harmful, but the graceful, slow, and gentle and calm, right, acceptance and those intentional movements are going to get you out. And so really, the Hermit, by you doing this Hermit and the Hanged Man, by doing this Hermit and High Priestess work, it's almost as if you're immersing yourself into this thinking and feeling situation, whatever this was, but in a very graceful and gentle way that's kind of enabling you to then turn it on its head and emerge from that. And it reminds me of a dream. I had a recurring dream when I was a kid that I was driving up a mountain. I was with my mom, blah, blah, you could get as Freudian as you want. But the idea was that I jumped into a lake and I didn't know how to get out of the lake. And the mother element of the dream told me I had to swim all the way down to the bottom, and that's how I could get out. It's illogical, but, dreams usually are. And I feel like the Hanged Man always reminds me of that sometimes we have to sink into something and accept it and immerse ourselves in it. And that's where we discover that inner light. We discover that, that key, that illumination, that divine essence, the spiritual energy, and we can emerge from that. But we have to, it's not easy, right? Because we have to struggle against our heart and our mind that sometimes keep us locked in a way, right? Well, let's look at the mystery card now. I feel like this is good. That, especially with that Empress energy. Like I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'll try to do it off camera. This is spooky good for you. I like this one a lot. If you have a prediction for the mystery card, drop it down in the comments. I don't know. I want to see another Empress card. I want to see another 10 of Cups. It's going to be something positive. It's going to be something energetic, right? Let's see what we've got. Yeah, it's strength. It's courage. It's the strength or lust card. It's the Leo energy. This is us getting control over all of this, and not letting ourselves sink so far down into this that we can't get out. This is the confidence and the strength, the bravery to do the Hanged Man work at all and the Hermit work in general. But then the strength and the confidence to pull ourselves out of that. And I think you're in the process now of kind of pulling yourself out. And so I think that the Hanged Man really is starting to emerge in that attitude of victory. You see that? That's the attitude of triumph and victory. And I think it's taken you a lot of courage. It's taken you a lot of bravery. We really have to be in control of ourselves, or we have to allow the spirit, right, of all this a lot of major arcana. We have to let that spiritual part of ourselves be the boss and control the rest of us, right? So it's kind of as if the magician here is in charge of your heart and your mind, okay? The magician and all the major arcana signifies that kind of divine essence, that spiritual part of us. And I think it is this kind of true self, higher self energy, this divine energy that is guiding you forward, as I said in the beginning. This is very, very good. Very, very good reading. If you want to stick around for the extended, there is a link in the corner. There's one down below. New readings for Scorpio every Wednesday and Saturday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Totally free. Doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. Especially if you're a first-time viewer of the channel, give a shout out, right? Let us know where you're from. We want to welcome you to the Dove and Serpent family. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.